Letter 9. Spithead, November 12, 1795. Greetings from the Ulysses. Our suspense is, at length, relieved. The day after I last wrote to you, our long-looked-for Ulysses arrived with a fleet from the Downs, and yesterday Henderson, Master, Cleghorn, and myself took our berths on board, finding Master's and my baggage stowed in great safety. We left Portsmouth in a grand scene of hurry and confusion, in consequence of its being reported, on the arrival of the fleet from the Downs, that every ship belonging to the expedition was to sail without further delay, those of the Leeward Island Division for Barbados, and those of the St. Domingo Division for Cork. The transports with troops from Southampton, happening to drop down the river at the same time to rendezvous at the Mother Bank and Spithead, seemed to confirm the report, and suddenly all was converted into extreme hurry and activity. Multitudes, both from the newly arrived ships and those which had been long waiting, thronged on shore to purchase provisions and stores to complete their stock for the voyage. Many who had passed their hours of suspense in the town had also their marketings to make, and hence, the demand suddenly becoming greater than the supply, it introduced all the confusion of a general scramble. Each seized upon whatever provisions he could find, asking no questions but paying any money that was demanded. Not aware of the tumultuous pressure of such a moment, and considering ours to be only a short passage, we had purposely delayed purchasing our meat, bread, and other fresh provisions, until we should be certain that the ship in which we were to make the voyage had arrived. But should we proceed to sea immediately, and the voyage be at all protracted, we shall be reduced, by this neglect, to salt food and the ship's allowance, for, in the general scramble, we were unable to obtain what we wished, and were compelled to repair on board with a very deficient supply. All the butchers' and bakers' shops were quickly emptied. Not a loaf nor a bit of meat, not even a carrot or a cabbage remained, and many went empty away. Neither porters nor servants were required, but everyone who was successful enough to put his hand upon any provisions gladly became the bearer of his own load. To show you the extremity to which we were reduced, I may tell you that our party stopped a man upon the street who was carrying home a large giblet pie, hot from the oven, which we tempted him to let us take on board, by offering for the pie and the dish more than double their value, or indeed any money he might demand. To an unconcerned spectator, it must have been a most ludicrous and diverting scene, such as might have afforded full scope to the all-animating pencil of Hogarth. We were too intimately associated with what was passing to view it only with an eye of amusement, still I could not but remark the oddity of the assemblage, and the varied expression of countenance, as actuated by hope, joy, disappointment, hurry, and anxiety. Military and naval officers, passengers, servants, soldiers, sailors, boys, women, and negroes, all crowded together upon the streets, formed one heterogeneous mass, one great and motley group, of which every part was in busy motion, each person feeling the apprehension of being left behind. From the multitudes of anxious, heavy-laden individuals who were seen running with their burdens down to the boats, and scrambling to embark, it might have appeared, to a stranger, that the inhabitants of Portsmouth were making one great effort to carry off all the provisions, stores, and furniture of the town, previous to evacuating it to the possession of an enemy. One hurried off with legs and shoulders of mutton, another with half a sheep, a third with a huge piece of beef, and others with different joints of veal or pork. Here was a man running with a cheese, there one with a sugar loaf, others were scampering away loaded with rice or papers of groceries, some ran off with bags of bread, some with baskets of greens, potatoes, carrots, turnips, and the like. Many were seen bending under heavy bundles of clothes wet from the wash, others loaded with camp stools, deal boxes, sea coffers, pewter utensils, and various other stores, and, amidst the throng, ourselves with the smoking giblet pie, and such other provisions as we had been able to procure. Everyone was upon the alert. Necessity made all industrious, and without any idle or scrupulous objections, each was glad to minister to his own wants. Intermixed with the business of this anxious scene were many other circumstances which increased the general crowd and confusion of the picture, multitudes pressing into and overflowing the shops, people running against or tumbling over each other upon the streets, loud disputes and quarreling, the sadness of parting, greetings of friends unexpectedly met and as suddenly about to separate, sailors quitting their trulls, drunkards reeling, boatmen wrangling, boats overloaded or upset, the tide beating in heavy sprays upon the shore, persons running and hurrying in every direction for something new, or something forgotten, some cursing the boatmen for not pushing off with more speed, and others beseeching and imploring them to stop a minute longer. Such was the state in which we left Portsmouth, after a residence of 3 weeks, during which time we had regarded it as a dull, inanimate place, but the change was sudden, and will be only transient. The hurry and tumult will vanish with the sailing of the fleet, and the town will relapse into its tranquil sameness until the recurrence of a similar occasion.